FM. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
This is Eyewitness News. Welcome to the show. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll be bringing you stories including Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu defense decision to close down 7 courts in the Upper East region. Also, presidential candidate for the Movement of Change, Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, urges Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin to accept Supreme Court's decision on vacancies in Parliament. Still ahead, hundreds of parents and guardians with issues regarding their ward senior high school placements today flocked to the placement center in Accra, hoping to resolve these concerns. Later in business,
investor confidence plummets amid Ghana's debt stabilization efforts. We have more from the 2023 Financial Stability Review.
Eyewitness News is live from our studios here in Accra and across the country on our partner stations, including Premier 100.5 FM, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky Power 93.5 FM, all in Takrady. We're live in the Bono Regional Capital, Sunyani, on Greener 95.9 FM. Join us in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, on Orange 107.9 FM. You're welcome to the Eastern Region on Right 90.1 FM in Somanya. Join us in the Volta Region on Holy 98.5 FM in Aflao. Up in the Northern Region, this is Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. We're also live in the Upper East Region on Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. The news is also live in the Upper West Region on Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. You can join the conversations by sending us your thoughts and your comments and contributions via the WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Or you can join us on X and Facebook as well as YouTube. My name is Nana Tufo Boating, and this evening I am doing this with
Eno Safo.
Eno will bring us our first story.
Residents of Bolgatanga in the Upper East region have expressed concern about the recent closure of the Circuit District and High Courts due to the ongoing Boko conflict. Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu ordered the closure, affecting courts in Zuarungu, Zebila, Garu and Bongo. While groups like the Ghana Bar Association support the decision, local residents are appealing for a reversal, worried that prolonged closures will disrupt access to justice in the area.
Local and foreign investors remain cautious about re-engaging fully amid concerns over potential.
Because now you have closed down the court. Somebody come to court. He was supposed to be in court today. From the police cells, he has come. They say the court is closed. They have to send him back. So how long will he be in cells there? Maybe his crime is just a minor one. And because of the closure of the court, this man or this woman have to suffer it till the fight is over. And when will the fight be over? Nobody knows. After a fight, you can't predict. It is ending tomorrow next. You don't know. So the resident or with the resident of Bolgatanga, we are very, very, very worried. So the government should intervene very, very quick and very, very fast so that the court will be open. Somebody have a genuine case. I have a friend who has a case here since 2010. It's always coming to court. So if he was due for court today and he has come and the court is closed, what happened to his case?
You heard a resident of Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga East, Dominic Aine, has announced plans to collaborate with his colleagues from Bolgatanga Central and Bongo to petition Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu to revisit the recent decision to close courts in the Upper East region. He spoke to my colleague Adjoatin Krama Domina on the City Prime News earlier today.
I stand with the residents of Bolgatanga in particular, because what the JUSAC secretary said doesn't make sense from the point of view of even security and intelligence. The sweeping directive, covers Bolgatanga and its environs, and that includes Warungu and Bongo. These are far, away geographically from the heart of the conflict, which is Boku Central. If it is the closure of the district court in Pusga and Zebila, that is understandable because they are within, the range of the conflict in Boku. Now, the example that he cited about people's Ghana cards being, taken to determine if they are from COSAC before they are dealt with and so on and so forth. That happened in Walwale. It wasn't in Bolga. All right. So the wisest thing to have done would have been to have closed the courts that are within the Boku area. All right. And like Zebila district, that is Boku West, and then Boku Central. And of course, Pusga. But when it comes to the high courts in Bolga, there is no conflict, taking place now in Bolga. If it is a question of the delivery of services by court staff from Bolga to Zebila and then to Pusga, the best thing to have done would have been to stop the delivery of only those services, so that litigants affected by those services within the conflict zone will only be affected. But here is the case. You are saying that because the court staff traveled from Bolga to that place, you are also, closing the high court, the circuit court, and all the district courts in Bolga and its environment. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay? Because as the resident said, if someone is on remand, and the fate of that person is to be determined by, let's say, a district court judge or a circuit court judge, all right? Now, what you are saying is that person should be interminably incarcerated until such a time that, the directive is revoked and the closure of the courts, the courts reopen. I don't think that is, fair. You are shutting the doors of justice to a lot of people just because you think that the judicial staff, the safety of the judicial staff is in jeopardy. In fact, that is not even true, because, as I said, Bolga, Zorungu, and Bongo are not within the range of the conflict.
So for you, it's an overstretch to extend this to Bolgatanga.
It is overbroad. The order, the directive is overbroad. And in fact, I want to have a discussion with the honorable member for Bolga Central and then the honorable member for Bongo for us to do a joint letter to the judicial secretary to reverse herself as far as the courts in Bolga and its environs are concerned, because we are not within the conflict zone. In fact, Bolga is in over 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers away from Boku. Okay? And whatever fighting took place within Boku Central. It didn't even spread to Zebila. Much more to talk about,
Honorable, the statement from the Chief Justice's Secretariat said they have picked intelligence. So could it not be that they are acting on this intelligence they have picked? That's why they extended it to your area.
No, the intelligence, you act upon credible intelligence. I live in the area. I just left my constituency yesterday, to Accra to attend a meeting. All right. And there is nothing to suggest that if the court in Zorungu, which is my hometown, were open today, all right, the life of the district court judge and the staff will be in jeopardy. Governmental services, are still running in the affected areas. Why are the courts an exception?
Very well. So you're challenging this decision going forward?
Yes. So I'm going to talk to my colleagues, and we'll do a joint letter to the judicial secretary, to try to reverse herself. Unless they can convince us that the intelligence that they have is so credible, that the closure of the court is necessary.
Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga East, Dominic Aina there. Meanwhile, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has called for adequate support for the judiciary, especially in addressing conflicts to enable effective and timely resolution of cases, particularly in conflict situations. She indicated that this support is crucial for the judiciary's timely and effective adjudication in promoting peace and stability. Speaking at the launch of the 5th edition of the Manual on Election Adjudication in Ghana, Justice Tokonu urged for enhanced backing to enable the judiciary to concentrate on legal principles, rights and frameworks that ensure accessible justice, particularly in conflict-related cases.
In the last week, I have had the unpleasant duty of having to close down courts in the upper regions of our country. No one can benefit from such situations, and it is in the national interest for all and sundry to rally around the administration of law and justice and the coming elections in order to ensure the preservation of the national fabric that the Constitution has put together for us.
You heard Justice Gertrude Tokonu, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
This is Eyewitness News here on 97.3 Citi FM. Send us your thoughts, your contributions on the stories that we'll be bringing you. The number is 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. We have more on the show. Do stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Hi, Aku. I just got the estimate for the home repairs. It's more than we expected. I'm really stressed about where to find the money.
Why worry, Musa? You are a salaried worker. Haven't you heard about the GC?
On Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3. Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973. And Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973. With the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News here on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, the Round 10 survey of the Afrobarometer has been released, and according to this report, unemployment, infrastructure, and health are the three key top priorities for Ghanaians. And these three priorities, according to the report, have been alternating as top three since 2008. Now, joining me to look at this Afrobarometer report is my colleague and head of current affairs here at 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 Television, Fred Tete Jabano. Good evening, Fred, and thank you so much for joining me.
Good evening, Anna.
Right, we know that these three priorities or these three elements or issues have been alternating at the top. But for this year, do we know which one sits actually at the top?
So for the year 2024, unemployment sits at the top. Amongst the respondents, 41% of them believe that the biggest issue facing the country now is unemployment. The second is infrastructure and roads. That's 38% of them think that infrastructure and roads are issues which are the biggest issues facing the country. Then we go to health. Health comes third in 2024. 33% of the people believe that we have issues within our health sector which needs to be addressed, followed by education, management of the economy, increasing cost of living, water supply, farming and agriculture, corruption, electricity, poverty destitution, services, crime and security, democracy / political rights, rates and taxes, and wages, incomes and salaries. These are the arrangement of the issues facing Ghanaians at this point. And when you go through this report, these are some of the key findings the report comes with. It says that a majority of Ghanaians say that the country is heading in the wrong direction, and they offer negative assessment to the country's economic condition and their personal living conditions. And it also tells us that fewer than half, that is 45%, expect the country's economic condition to improve over the coming year. Ratings of the government's economic performance have declined sharply and are overwhelmingly negative, and 79% are in favor of discontinuing the electronic transaction levy, the e-levy. So these are some of the key findings in this particular report for 2024.
Does the report zoom in or zero in on the elections and what expectations are for the elections?
So yes, this particular one did not zero in. The report came in two batches. The first batch dealt with the elections, and in the elections it talked about apathy. About 16% of people have said they are not going to vote. Out of that 16%, we have the age group of 18 to somewhere 35 being the majority of the people who say they are not going to vote on election day. It talks also about who they would be voting for, whether they will be voting for a skirt and blouse, whether they will be voting for presidential candidates and parliamentary candidates in the same party. A majority of the respondents in this particular report, the one released before this particular one, indicate that they would all vote. They will vote for a party's presidential candidate and its parliamentary candidate. So you would realize that when you go through that report, unlike what we have in this parliament where you have a lot of skirt and blouse, this time majority of the respondents say they are going to vote for a presidential candidate from the same party and a parliamentary candidate from the same party.
Very well. Thank you so much, Fred. Fred Tete Jabano is the head of current affairs production here at 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 Television. Let's still stay on this matter and go over the phone lines to speak to Mavis Zupork Dome. She is a senior research analyst at CDD. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening and good evening to everyone.
Good to have you. Now, before we even get into the key findings for this particular report, run us through the methodology for the survey and the period within which data was collected.
Thank you. So Afrobarometer is a non-partisan Pan-African survey network. It started as a project in 1999 and is now an institution since 5 years now. But CDD Ghana is a core partner managing Anglophone West Africa, North Africa, and some island countries, as well as a national partner when it comes to Afrobarometer surveys. And I've been conducting surveys for Afrobarometer since round 1, that is 1999. Ghana is in the 10th round. The methodology has always been a nationally representative sample that is used for the surveys, and it looks at adult citizens. Interviews, that is 18 years and above. Interviews are conducted face-to-face. And then the sample size for Ghana since round 5, that is 2014, has been 2,400. That yields a margin of error plus or minus 2 percentage points at a 95% confidence interval. The questions used are standardized across all the countries. It allows for comparison across countries as well as across years, various rounds of the survey. Countries are able to add questions to it specific to each round, what policy issues are going on in the country that they want to add to the survey questions. And this year we added a few things on the elections on it. So for this year, data was collected in August for Ghana.
Very well, but with the findings that you made, no surprises here, are there? Despite the fact that unemployment this time round for round 10 is topping the list of priorities.
Not surprising. Not surprising, and unemployment still not surprising, because unemployment have always been mentioned. If you look at over the years, unemployment is one of the things that have always been mentioned. It's mostly either among the top 3 or the top 5 priorities of Ghanaians that they want government to address. So among the top 3, it has been mentioned since 2008. If you look at it from there, it has been mentioned like this will be the 5th time. In fact, not 5th. That will be 7th time it has come up. It has been the top policy priority problem in 2017, 2012, and then 2024. So unemployment is not so new either as an issue that citizens want government to address. I would also add that the not surprising part again is the number of people who, or the group of people who really think unemployment is an issue. If you look at it, that is among the youth. Youth between 18 and 25 and youth between 26 and 35. Unemployment is their most policy priority problem that they want government to address. If you look at it across education, yes, those who are more educated from secondary, above secondary, post-secondary to post-secondary, unemployment is their most prioritized need. It's no different when it comes to gender, male, female, they want unemployment, and it's the most top priority problem in the urban areas. In contrast, we have in the rural areas infrastructure being the most important problem for citizens that they want government to address. Yeah.
Right. I see democracy and political rights sitting in the bottom 3. And bearing in mind that this is an election year and how close we are to the polls in December, is this worrying at all?
Well, not at all. If you look at our last week's findings that we released on, for instance, whether the elections was perceived free and fair, if you look at whether vote intimidation, if you look at, so for instance, whether the previous elections were free and fair, about 60% said the elections were completely free and fair, or free and fair with minor problems. If you look at voter intimidation, whether citizens feel that they'll be victim of political intimidation, you have as high as almost 9 in 10 saying they are not afraid at all. If you also look at whether they'll think about secret ballot, whether somebody would find out whom they voted for, 8 in 10, that's 83% says that not at all or not likely. If you look at we having support for elections is still very high. Support for multi-party is still very high. So with that, I feel citizens still support elections, support our democracy, and feel they have their political rights are not infringed in any way. Though we see declining voter apathy about 16%, and those who say they will not refuse to even disclose about 28%. If you put those two percentage together, that is high among people who may not want to go out and vote. But it's not because of they being afraid or they don't have the political right. Maybe it's more of even asserting their political right, or a protest kind of to say things are not going well, so why continue voting? There are a lot of factors that could contribute to that. But I don't think our democracy is in the space where citizens will feel they don't have enough political rights and they want government to put it at first. Of course, it's also an issue, and it has been listed among, but compared to other issues, it's not on the top list.
Let's look at some specifics in the report, and I get a sense that there's a general agreement for some of the policies or initiatives by the government to be continued by the next government, whichever party that wins. Take free SHS, for example. I'm seeing that 85% strongly agree that the next government should retain it. If you look at planting and rain for food and jobs, also about 81% agreeing that it should be retained. What was the specific question that you put to these respondents, and what answers were you looking to derive?
So we have had various government introduce policies, and this round we felt it was an opportunity to ask. We have had in one way or another in other surveys, even our pre-election and post-election, about how they rate government-specific policies that they have put in place and if they feel they should be abolished or not. So in this round, we are in an election year and we don't know who will win. The question is, what is on the thought of Ghanaian man when it comes to policies that are ongoing? So we wanted to know Ghanaians about that. Our question was just very simple. Regardless of which party wins the 2024 national elections, the next government should continue to implement the following initiative. Or you have not heard about them to say, then we list the initiatives. So where respondents have not heard enough about the initiatives to say they are not obliged to answer, but where they have heard enough and they have an opinion formed about it, then they tell us whether they agree that they should be continued or not. So basically that was just the question.
Very well.
The least one that citizens want government citizens want to see is electronic transactions. That's e-levy. Only 17% say that they want to see it continue. So we have a huge majority of 79. That's about 8 in 10 saying they do not want the next government, whoever the next government is, to continue.
Right. Let's look at the citizens' assessment of economic and living conditions. You sought to find out from respondents if the country was going in the right direction. Kindly run us through what the findings were, particularly regarding this one, whether or not the country was going in the right direction.
Right. So it's one of the standard questions that we asked over the years, and the question basically asked is, would you say the country is going in the wrong or right direction? And students will choose which they think is the case. So we have 82% saying that the country is going in the wrong direction in 2024. This is a decline from 87% in 2022 that said the country is going in the wrong direction. But if you look at it across time, that is like 12-year period, then we have about 55% increase in the number of citizens who say that the country is going in the wrong direction. We should be worried.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time this evening, Mavis Zupok Dome. We're so grateful for your time. Mavis is a senior research analyst at CDD. This is Eyewitness News live on 97.3 Citi FM. Enosafo will bring us some more stories.
Yes, and hundreds of parents and guardians with issues regarding their ward's senior high school placements today thronged the placement center in Accra, hoping to resolve these concerns. First-year senior high schools reopened yesterday amid public protests, leaving families without sufficient time to prepare. Some frustrated parents and students shared their grievances in an interview with Citi News.
I came to change my location.
Why?
Because I took St. Mary's vocational school at Asamankese, but they gave me a from place. They said I'll cross the border. I don't.
You don't cross the river, the border. So which school are you selecting now?
St. Mary's vocational school at Asamankese. I came to change my location.
Why?
Because I took St. Mary's vocational school at Asamankese, but they gave me a from place. They said I'll cross the border. I don't.
You don't cross the river, the border. So which school are you selecting now?
St. Mary's vocational school at Asamankese.
You heard a student who thronged the placement center in Accra. Meanwhile, the deputy coordinator at the Free Senior High School Secretariat, Nana Afra Sika Mensa, has advised affected students to remain patient, assuring them that their issues will be addressed.
They've brought a lot of issues, and this is manual key in that we are going to key in. So if we don't take this issue to the center for them to resolve it for them, their number will keep on piling up. So we need to take this ones for the people to work on it, so that tomorrow when they come, we wouldn't want to meet these same numbers here tomorrow. We'll work on this one so that those who will be coming will take the weekends to also resolve it.
You heard Deputy Coordinator at the Free Senior High School Secretariat, Nana Afrasika Mensa. The National Association of Institutional Suppliers has requested a meeting with the Ministry of Education to discuss unpaid debts. The union voiced concerns over the halted payment of arrears, which has left its members in financial difficulty. Spokesperson for the union, Emmanuel Aibo, stated they expect the ministry to respond by next week.
We sent a letter to the ministry on Monday requesting to have a meeting by the close of next week. If by the close of next week they don't respond to us, we will get to you, please. We are planning to have an either picketing or demonstration. But the national decision-making body, that is the Congress, has requested that we write to them. So we've done that. We are waiting for their response by the close of next week. What is happening is we are unable to track because of the way they are paying. We've said this over and over again about the selective system of payment. As I speak with you now, we have people who have completed, students who have completed that government still owns. We sent a proposal to them 25th of last month to consider all those people, but they've not given us any concrete advice. Those in second year as we speak. So it has been sort of some selective payment they are doing, making it difficult for us to track. At the moment, there is no payment going on at the moment. We made an inquiry and we were told that they've run out of money.
Emmanuel Aibo is spokesperson for the National Association of Institutional Suppliers.
This is Eyewitness News, live on 97.3 Citi FM. We're live on our affiliates across the country. Some of your messages that have come in so far. Father SK from Kenyasi in Kumasi says the Speaker should accept the ruling of the Supreme Court and recall parliamentarians to continue with the unfinished business of the House. Evans Ibn Samba, texting from Jirapa, says, I am hugely surprised that this Chief Justice doesn't see crisis in the closure of courts in Bolga. So far, nothing she does points to law or nation building. What is her motive, as CJ, you are asking? This one is from Moses, texting from Nkwanta in the OT region, and he is asking, why is it that only courts were closed and other government institutions are working? Is the so-called intel suggesting they want to harm only judicial workers? The CJ must rescind her decision. Akafa Katata, texting from Zoko, says the closure of courts in Zebila, Bongo and Bolga is difficult to comprehend. Does this mean that other departments should equally be shut down? Someone is being mischievous. It is sad. You can also join in the conversation using the WhatsApp line 0549-986-996. This is Eyewitness News. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Honestly, the cost of dialysis is an impossible burden to carry. Ever since this kid...
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News here on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's bring you some more stories. And President Akufo-Addo has signed the Ghana Shippers Authority Act of 2024 into law, marking a major milestone for Ghana's shipping and logistics sector. The law aims to regulate the commercial activities of shippers, primarily targeting unfair and excessive charges that burden traders using Ghana's seaports and airports, as well as land borders for international trade. Now, however, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, had earlier urged President Akufo-Addo to withhold his assent to the act, arguing that relevant stakeholders were not consulted before the bill was passed into law. We're joined on the lines by Dr. Obeng, who will share his perspective on the new law and its implications for Ghanaian traders. Good evening, Doc, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, good evening.
Grateful. Now, this law, we know, has come to address a number of the challenges that you as traders, importers alike, even clearing agents, freight forwarders have been complaining about. So how come there appears to be some level of opposition or rejection now that it's been signed into law?
Normally we agree with the act, because we actually have been calling for the act to be revised the way it has been done, so that it will work in favor of the trading community, because as you recall, we've been talking about the high extortive rates by the shipping lines and all that. And so these regulations and the new act seek to do just that, and that normally will go to help the cause of trading. It's only that when the new bill came, there were certain things on the registration for which we raised the gray areas, and then the Shippers Authority also understood and then formed a committee to iron out
Doc, sorry, let's take it one after the other. What were these issues and what gray areas did you make recommendations for?
It was just about the registration processes and the penalties that went with it. And we said that the penalty was so harsh, and then the processes. So these are the areas that they say we have to use the LI to iron them out. And a committee have actually been set. And so we are so much in favor of the new bill. It's only that we wanted everything to be perfected. And then we brought the areas that were not working for us. And that has been ironed out. A committee have been set, and all those areas have been cleaned up to the favor of the importer. And also for the fact that it gives new strength for the Shippers Authority to act on the shipping lines in the country who have been being our problem all this time. Then, of course, we have no option than to support this act and make it work. And so for now, everything has been sorted out and in favor of the bill, which is going to help all of us in our quest to do our business in harmony.
Very well. So now that it's been sorted out, the president has signed the act into law. Let's look at the implementation of the act and how it will impact business going forward. What do you foresee will be the benefits or advantages thereof with the implementation of the Shippers Authority Act?
One thing is that now, and Shippers Authority have to approve any charge by these shipping lines. And that's the most important thing. And they are going to also work with them on the mortgages, how to count the days and all that. So this time, the act have given them more strength, more authority to act on the role that have been assigned to them. That's to monitor the shipping line activities and also other aspects of importation. So it is in tune with what we have been expecting all this time. with the exception of the little infractions that came as a result of the new draft, and that have been sorted out and into our favor.
Well, it appears that for traders, the matter of streamlining the activities and operations of these shipping lines is quite heavy or a priority for you. But the shipping lines are just one agency in the chain of importing and, of course, clearing goods from the port. How do you foresee the act, positioning traders in an advantage regarding organizations or agencies such as the Ports Authority itself and issues surrounding rent and all that?
So those are all included in the bill, the regulations that goes with it. So if you take your time and read, it captures all those areas. It's not that is only pointing to the shipping lines only. I mean, that wouldn't be fair to the shipping lines. So it goes and even capture some activities of trading itself. That's why they are telling us to even register before importing and all that. You understand? They want us to register before our importation. So it doesn't. It's not only geared to work on the shipping lines only, but for all segments of trading regarding importation. Yeah.
Doc, earlier there were some concerns regarding the Shippers Authority now acting both as a regulator and also an intermediary should exporters or businesses have issues with the shipping lines. Has this been addressed by the Act?
Yeah, I hope you should get the Act and then we can go one by one. Then people will be well educated. But as it stands now, we are very much in tune with the new Act, and we believe that is going to help the cost of importation and then exportation. Yeah, it's going to help a lot. Well, they need a strong institution. You have to understand, and then they needed some teeth to bite, and the new bill give them all these strength and powers to act. And so we are very happy, especially when they have to approve of any charges that these shipping lines come with. And they do things with impunity. And now that impunity will be the thing of the past. And that there are so many of the things that the stakeholders will have to come together before they can even bring out, especially with regards to charges, fees and charges. And so it's going to clean up the system, and we are going to be very competitive with the rest of our neighboring countries. So we give all the support to this new bill, especially when they've listened to some of our protests and some of our reservations and all that, and act upon it. And so once all those have been done by a stakeholder committee and all that, and we have all agreed, it's definitely going to work well on our favor. And we are talking about monitoring, and that has been the bane. So how are we going to be able to enforce these regulations and monitor it to the latter? To make it work perfectly. That's what is left now. But the bill has been assented now by the president, and we have to do the rest. That's Shippers Authority and our very selves.
Very well. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time. We believe good times ahead now for importers. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA. Enosafo will bring us some more stories.
The Akwemu Traditional Council has vowed to use all legitimate means to resist attempts to rename the Adomi Railway Station to Japon Station. According to the Paramount Chief of Akwemu, Odeneho Kwafo Akutu III, the legislative instrument published by the Railway Development Authority indicated that there would be an Adomi Railway Station. However, in a recent development, the infrastructure is likely to bear a new name. The Paramount Chief made these remarks during an exclusive interview with Citi News News on the sidelines of an emergency traditional council meeting held at the Bujari Palace on these developments in the eastern region.
We heard a bad news that we don't want to, relent on. We all know this railway line that is coming from Tama through Akwemu land to Mpakadan, which is also Akwemu. The main issue that we have is the naming of the Jampong railway station instead of Adome. Our case is very simple. The railway minister, the Railway Development Authority, AFCONS, and everybody knows that where they are trying to name Jampong station is Adome station. I am saying this because in their publication on Wednesday, 13th February 2019, when the executive instrument that acquired the land and everything that is going to go on the railway line was published in the dailies, this is specifically Daily Graphic, it is clearly written in it that the railway line that is coming from Tema through New Akrade will have a railway station at Adome and in Pakadan. Adome is Akwemu, and all of us know that that is Akwemu land. We don't know when the Adome railway station was changed to Jampong railway station. We were not consulted. It is that we are all Ghanaians. All we are saying is the status quo needs to be restored. The ministry and the government agency that looks over these railway activities cannot take Akwemus for granted. No, we won't agree. We are telling government emphatically that we won't agree. No, because of posterity. We don't know what will happen in future. If you are naming a place and you don't name the place well, in future somebody is going to use it for evidence against us. And myself, Nananom and Akweman have resolved today that we are going to take all the necessary action to make sure the status quo remains. It is Adome railway station that has been published in the executive instrument, and so be it. Period.
Paramount Chief of Akwemu Odeneho Kwafuakuto III. Now, the Supreme Court has granted the Attorney General's Department a 7-day extension to file its statement on the case of journalist and legal practitioner Richard Delasky versus the Speaker of Parliament. This case centers on the controversial Ghanaian Family Values Bill aimed at promoting traditional family values, which critics argue may infringe on individual rights, especially those of marginalized groups like the LGBTQ+ community. The state attorney also requested that the court compel the speaker's lawyers to submit a financial impact analysis report, arguing it could influence the case's outcome.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Stay with us. We'll return shortly with business.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens. Get the
Eyewitness News. My name is Inu Safo. Let's settle for the details. Investor confidence in Ghana's financial sector has taken a significant hit, according to the Bank of Ghana's 2023 Financial Stability Review. The report underscores that the domestic debt exchange program, intended to stabilize the country's debt profile, has instead contributed to sustained investor skepticism. Here is more.
Local and foreign investors remain cautious about re-engaging fully amid concerns over potential future restructuring and perceived risk in government securities. The review highlights that foreign participation in Ghana's debt market dropped, with holdings decreasing to 17.47 billion Ghana cedis by 2023, down from the 18.7 billion Ghana cedis recorded the previous year. This trend was largely driven by DDP-induced sell-offs, reflecting broader doubts over the sector's resilience. Conversely, foreign investor confidence confidence showed a modest uptick in the equity market, where equity holdings rose to 20 billion Ghana cedis in December 2023 from the 15.43 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, supported by improved stock market performance. A marked shift has also emerged in the composition of investors in the fixed income market. Resident investors now dominate, holding 94.43% of the outstanding debt stock by 2023 year-end, up from the 90% in 2022. Meanwhile, non-resident investors' share dropped to 5.57%, a decrease fueled by sell-offs amid inflation concerns, city depreciation, and other economic challenges. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance maintains that investor confidence is rebounding, citing the positive growth recorded in the first and second quarters of 2024.
That was a report filed by Neteli Nete Ajaho. Now, in a bid to equip young people with essential digital skills in an ever-evolving world and to enhance their employability, telecommunications giant MTN Ghana, in collaboration with Stanbic Bank, is embarking on a digital skills training program. Approximately 100 participants are expected to benefit from the maiden edition of the program, which will provide training in various digital skills aimed at empowering youth for the job market. MTN Ghana's Senior Manager of Segment Marketing, Nana Asantewaa Amegashi, in an interview with the media, highlighted the importance of this digital skills training initiative. Nana Asantewaa Amegashi is MTN Ghana's Senior Manager of Segment Marketing.
We have a very youthful population, and you know where the world is going now with digital. And we thought, let's leverage that, the youth that we have, and bridge that gap with the digital ideas that are out there for future empowerment. For this very first one, we are looking at just about 100 youth that are here. As I said, it's the maiden edition, and so as time goes, we'll increase it and then give them more access. We went through a few with them. We introduced to them the MTN Digital Skills Academy that enables them to take up courses, whether it's in blockchain or even just basic digital skills. And the idea there is that they would learn something for themselves and be able to apply it to either the work they do or even school. Remember that we mentioned that the certification are possible as well. You get certified with big time schools out there. So if you take these courses, you get a certification that will make you more employable in the future.
Nana Asantewaa Amegashi is MTN Ghana's Senior Manager of Segment Marketing, Head of Youth Banking at Stanbic Bank. Nana Sewa Bosman, on her part, indicated the initiative will hone the digital skill set of the youth.
We partnered MTN for this program because as part of our youth banking proposition as Stanbic, we are looking to a learning pillar with our customers. So all our young customers are supposed to learn through different means, digital skills, robotics, financial management, and all of that. So once we realized that MTN was on that journey, we decided to partner with them so that we can get our customers to also get trained on very profitable stuff like the digital skills. Digital skills is extremely important. It's the conversation of the day. In fact, in Stanbic Bank, we are talking about jobs of the future and training our people to become worthy, so that when jobs drop off, you are capable to work on your own and all of that. So digital skills is very important to us here in this bank, and even for our own initiatives, we drive that, and that is why we tag along and combine forces to do this for our young people for the future.
Nana Sewa Bosman is Head of Youth Banking at Stanbic Bank. Some commercial banks have posted impressive profit growth for the third quarter, with newly released financial statements on the Ghana Stock Exchange revealing that some of these banks surpassed the 1 billion cedi mark in earnings by the end of September this year. These results highlight a strong performance across the sector amid evolving economic challenges, signaling robust gains and reinforcing investor confidence. My colleague has more in this report.
According to the unaudited financial statement, Ecobank saw a profit before tax surge by 84.7%, reaching 1.4 billion Ghana cedis compared to the 811 million in the same period last year. GCB Bank reported a profit before tax of 1 billion Ghana cedis, up by 21.1% from the 830 million Ghana cedis recorded in 2023. Access Bank recorded 837 million Ghana cedis in profits by the end of September 2024. Meanwhile, Cow Bank and Republic Bank posted profit before tax of 328 million Ghana cedis and 199 million Ghana cedis respectively, with ADB seeing a remarkable year-on-year growth of 553.3% in profit before tax, rising from 26 million in 2023 to hit 176 million in 2024. For some market analysts, this growth is driven by increased interest income from commissions and fees, along with significant growth in loan portfolios. While successful deposit mobilization has been a common strength across these banks, non-performing loans continue to pose a significant challenge for some of these institutions.
That report was put together by Citi Business News' Emmanuel Opong. Consolidated Bank Ghana has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting small and medium-sized enterprises through continuous technological innovation. The bank believes that leveraging technology is vital for the growth and sustainability of SMEs. Speaking at the CBG Thought Leadership Breakfast meeting, Managing Director of CBG, Daniel Addo, stressed the bank's dedication to introducing new technologies designed to empower SMEs.
CBG has done a lot for SMEs. I say that within the markets in this country, we're probably the biggest lender to SMEs in that space. Our SME center is set up specifically to serve as an advisory center to SMEs. And indeed, after following on from this morning's program, we are also putting together a technology team that is able to assist SMEs when they come there or to reach out to them so we can educate and assist them in applying technology to the business. The challenge has always been that technology is available there, but sometimes it's not readily available to our small businesses, or they're not aware of the potential that they can derive from leveraging that technology. As you and I know, there's been a phenomenal growth in payment rails in this country. There's been a growth in collection platforms. And so for the typical SME, payments, collections, it's no longer a challenge. And I urge all SMEs to move to the position where they're putting their transactions on the digital platforms.
You heard the Managing Director of Consolidated Bank Ghana, Daniel Addo. That's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. My name is Inu Safo. Up next is Point Blank.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. It's time now for Point Blank. Point Blank is brought to you by Kivo Pepe Mokosheo. And this evening on Point Blank, we'll take you on the campaign trail. We get to hear from the various camps, their locations, who they have been engaging, and what messages they are putting across as the December elections approach. 37 days to the December 7 polls. This is the Election Bureau. We'll start off from the camp of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, where its flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has clarified that his proposal for a women's trade empowerment fund rather than a bank aims to offer traders flexible access to funds. Speaking to stakeholders at Sankore in the Sunafo South constituency, he highlighted that women traders would only need their Ghana cards to access the funds.
Mepese meboa ma edwadifo eye behihye ade a yefre no Women's Trade Empowerment Fund.
I want to support traders by establishing a Women's Trade Empowerment Fund, which will provide loans specifically for traders. Unlike bank loans, accessing this fund will be straightforward. All you will need is your Ghana card. This initiative will help traders expand their businesses.
You had flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Let's still stay with his campaign and speak to my colleague, Hansen Ajiman, who is currently on tour with the flag bearer of the NPP. Good evening, Hansen, and thank you for joining us. Tell us where you are now and then run us through the activities of the Vice President so far throughout the day today.
Currently is in the Citi constituency, now Citi South constituency. This is the constituency of NDC Member of Parliament Colin Dauda, and specifically as we speak, we are the forecourt of the Achirinsua Palace, where a community engagement and a stakeholder dialogue is being held, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is expected to address constituents as well as the chiefs, businesses and party principals who've gathered here at the forecourt of the Chief Palace to listen to the NPP flag bearer.
Earlier we heard him speak from Sankore in the Sunafo South constituency. Where else has Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia been, and what has been his message so far?
So the day began in Sankore, where he has...
Hello, Hansen. We appear to have lost Hansen. We'll rework the lines and get him back on. But he is currently with the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who is currently on tour. We've heard him speak from Sunafo South constituency. Hansen has also informed us that he has been to Esutifi, the constituency currently being held by NDC member Collins Dauda. We'll reconnect with Hansen and bring you more on what the Vice President has been saying and where he has been. But let's take you to the camp of the Movement for Change, and its presidential candidate Alan Chermatin has outlined 15 thematic focus areas for his government to transform the Greater Accra region into one of the top 5 well-structured cities in Africa. Let's go back to the phone lines and speak to my colleague Hansen Ajiman, who joins us once more. Hansen, we lost you there, but I was asking where else the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP had been so far, and what has been his message to the various constituents.
So I was saying that the campaign began from Sankore, then he went to Kukum, all within the Sunafo South constituency, and before that, the media team had made a stop at Nobiako, where the parliamentary candidate of the NPP hails from, where we engaged some of the constituents on what they think will be the basis for which they are going to make their choice. positive news for the parliamentary candidate. We have been told he hails from that town, and so nothing surprising there, where residents basically supported his bid to replace Eric Puku of the NDC. Then the campaign team moved to the Isnafo North constituency, where Dr. Baumia inspected the construction of a Hafu University campus of the University of Engineering and Applied Sciences. He also held a stakeholder engagement in Akrodie, then moved to Gosso and engaged in a meet and greet session at the Gosso Daily Market, and later to commission a polyclinic at MIM, and then a community connect event as well. And he's now moved to the Asutivi South constituency. Previously, the idea was for him to have made 3 separate stops in the Asutivi South constituency, but considering the time, it appears that the protocol team and the Baumia campaign team have come together to bring all 3 groups together. That is party faithfuls, the community leaders, as well as chiefs, pastors, and imams, to listen to the NPP flag bearer. Nana, he's basically been touting government's achievements, indicating that the NPP government, under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa, has done a lot for Ghanaians and bettered the lives of Ghanaians through policies like the free senior high school policy, through the construction of the Agenda 111 hospital. He does not mince words in highlighting the essence of digitalization, insisting that we are moving into a phase of development in the world where when you do not digitize the system, you'll be left behind. And he's also been talking about his policies. These constituencies being agricultural constituencies or areas where a lot of the people are involved in agriculture. Dr. Baumia took time to explain his policy when it comes to the agricultural mechanization project, which basically is to run just like the drip, to have in place mechanized equipment for farmers to be able to use together within a district, so that even without owning these equipment, they can engage in mechanized farming on their own. Now, in these areas, a lot of these women are also engaged in trading, and so he explained the Women Trade Empowerment Fund, and he took time to distinguish between the fund and a bank, saying that if it is a bank, the process of accessing the monies will be tedious. You have to go through stringent scrutiny before you be given the money. But when it's a fund, all you need is your Ghana card to be able to access the funds. And he believes that it's going to be of utmost support to women in these areas and across the country. He also talked about youth employment, and he talked about helping persons who want to go into apprenticeship to be able to start this apprenticeship, and when they come out, with the help of the credit score system, which he intends to implement from November 7th, these persons that will be able to purchase equipment, goods that they will need to be able to start their own business afresh, and will be able to pay in installments. We also talked about training 1 million youth in digital skills, including coding, where he believes it will equip Ghanaian youth to be able to fight for jobs in other advanced countries, whereas they are still in Ghana, and will be able to compete with persons who are outside the country. But particularly on the elections, he talks about the skirt and blouse voting pattern within these areas, and asked them to desist from it. He's also touched on issues about insults that appears to be emanating from some camps, and he talked about the NDC camps, where he believes that the NDC has resorted to insults, and he thinks that in itself is not a way to go.
Very well. Harrison, before I let you go, let me take you back to Sunafo South, Sankore to be specific. We know that Sankore is quite hostile to the NPP. What was the reception like today when the vice president got there?
Well, Nana, to be frank, I can say that it was warm welcome. At least it appeared that all the persons who were there were expectant of the NPP coming in and also expectant of the NPP flag bearer coming to engage them. And so nothing of hostilities there. And I must say that our reception is across the three constituencies that we've gone to. I mean, there's a difference between going around these areas and going around in Greater Accra, for instance, because in Accra, when you are in part of the convoy and the convoy is moving, often than not, you think that people really do not care about what is going on. But in this part, if you move around, you get people who move out of their homes, out of their shops, who stand along the streets and wave at the convoy, expecting the presidential candidate and other party members who are part of the convoy to wave back at them. And so I must say that it's been a warm welcome for the NPP flag bearer and his entourage here within the Ahafo region.
Very well. Thank you so much, Hansen. Hansen Ajiman is my colleague here in the Citi newsroom, who is currently on the campaign trail with the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Let's now take you to the camp of the Movement for Change, where its presidential candidate Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen has outlined 15 thematic focus areas for his government to transform the Greater Accra region into one of the top 5 well-structured cities in Africa. He noted that he would implement a complete overhaul of the transportation system, improve traffic management, enhance waste management, and address the decongestion of the central business district of Accra. Now, addressing the press as part of his Greater Accra caravan tour, Alan Kyerematen noted that if given the opportunity to be president, he will transform Accra through his Gary initiative by the year 2030. Let's speak to a leading member of the Movement for Change, Yao Boabian Samoa, who's joining us live via telephone now. Good evening, sir, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Now, we know that Mr. Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen, presidential candidate for the Movement for Change, has been on tour in the Greater Accra region. We've seen and heard his wife also doing some campaigning for him as well. Kindly paint us a picture of what the campaign has been like so far, what stops have been made, and of course, let's zoom in on the message that is being propagated to the general public.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. Essentially, we are carrying out a caravan tour, which means that we are moving to people in their own locations, in communities. And therefore, we are not bringing people together from across constituencies. We are moving to them and we are giving them messaging as we move along. You can hear music. We are actually in the caravan in Tema. Today, we've been in Ponkatamanso, we've been in the 3 Temas, Tema East, Central, and West. And essentially, the message is about the redevelopment of Accra. You need modern commercial infrastructure, market infrastructure. He's been telling the women that he's going to involve the private sector in delivering quality market infrastructure. He's also looking at delivering quality terminals, what we call lorry park, because one needs to improve the environment in which individuals work. These people are the backbone of our economy, and yet the conditions under which they work are very, very difficult. So the modern terminal is one of the things he's going to do. But the most exciting, probably for the women, is the establishment of the Traders Bank. And he says he's going to capitalize the bank with 400 million cedis. And this bank will be one that gives very low interest rates. It operates almost like a susu collection process, so that on a daily basis, women traders who own the bank, essentially, it's for them, it's the Traders Bank, will be paying back their loans in very small amounts that they are used to doing. What he's trying to do is formalize the current financial, very informal financial structures that the women have been deploying in the way they do their trade and finance themselves. So these are some of the messages that have been going on. And of course, he put out the 15-point Greater Accra Redevelopment Initiative, short for GARI. And the GARI, in implementation, will take account of all continuing projects, government-funded, donor-funded, and we will align them to the 15-point agenda, which summarized covers transport infrastructure, public transport infrastructure. It's sad the way people are hanging by the edges of the road looking for transportation home in long queues without any clarity about whether or not they are getting home anytime soon. And then the waste management aspect of things, then flooding as well. And then, of course, establishing a befitting central business district, CBD, that will actually be the foundation for putting Accra out, the financial center for West and Central Africa. So this has been some of the messaging.
Very well. Now, Mr. Chematin has also made the headlines this week. Some say Alan storms Accra with mega victory walk, Afrofanto mega victory walk. Alan to shake Accra with Afrofanto mega victory walk. Tell us about this walk, the dates, and of course how advanced plans are to see to the success of this walk.
So essentially, we are at the stage where lovers of Alan are all coming together to now show, with barely 4 weeks to go to the election, that they are ready to vote and that they are part of the process. So we had a mega walk last week in Ashanti, and Saturday, November 2nd, is going to be the Greater Accra version of the mega victory walk, in front of mega victory walk. 6 a.m., it will start from the PTC area of Circle, the former PTC building, where it's now West African Forex Bureau. You know, behind it you have the K-Dom intersection, if you are aware of the geography of the area. Hello?
Right.
That area is your area.
Yes, please.
So the former PTC.
Yes.
West African, that's where we will start.
Okay.
And then we'll go all the way through to Cantamanto, past the regional police station,
right?
Hit the Kojo Thompson Road, and turn left again, and come straight back to Obrasport, where we will end.
Great.
So this is happening on Saturday 2nd. Everybody is invited. You get there, you have your yellow T-shirts. People are clamoring for the yellow T-shirts. So you have your yellow T-shirt, and you'll be very comfortable. Joining the people who are saying that enough is enough, that we want a change after 32 years, that we need genuineness in leadership, that somebody must actually give us a direction that's based on a vision that meets the needs of Ghanaians.
Right.
That's what this work is about.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you well. Yabuabunya Samoa is a leading member of the Movement for Change, and he also speaks for the presidential candidate Alan John Kwadwo Chematin. Now, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has promised to build an ultra-modern market facility in Savelugu in the northern region if elected in the 2024 elections. John Mahama, speaking at Ideba in Savelugu, urged residents to support the NDC in the upcoming elections, stressing the party's commitment to developing both rural and urban areas in Ghana.
There are many things that the NDC has in its manifesto for the people of Ghana. My sister who just spoke talked about the Women's Development Bank. We are going to create branches of the Women's Development Bank everywhere. And one of the places we'll create it is in the Savelugu market. We are going to modernize the Savelugu market, build a modern market for Savelugu. We have a program called the Market Enhancement Program. Anytime I pass here and it's Savelugu Market Day, if you see the number of people at the market, and so it is one of the markets we're going to prioritize. We're going to build a modern market so that people will be attracted to come to Savelugu to come and trade. And when we build the market, we'll open a branch of the Women's Development Bank there, so that our mothers and our sisters who are trading in the market, you go and put your 20 cedis, your 10 cedis, 20 cedis, you go and keep it there. The day you want a loan, you go and ask for a loan, no collateral. You don't have to put anything down before they give you the loan. The loan will be low interest, and you take your time and pay little by little by little by little until you finish paying.
John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, ending tonight's edition of Point Blank, brought to you by Kivo Pepe Mokoshio. This has been Eyewitness News live on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nanatufo Boateng. I did this with Eno Safo. Production by Sami Wiafe, Nana Kobna Wells, and Bevlin London. Technical support by Thomas Obin Dako. Stay with us here on 97.3 Citi FM. This is your election bureau. You can join the conversations using the hashtag Ghana Post 2024, hashtag Citi Verify, hashtag Election Bureau. Up next, we have a rebroadcast of the constituency at 8 p.m. This will be at 8 p.m. later tonight. The constituency is a program package to gauge the spirit of various constituencies as we gear up for the December polls. Tonight at 8 p.m., we zoom in to the Aguna West constituency. Many thanks for your time. Have a good evening.